Hello there, this is Kimberly Wilson and welcome back after our tech glitch. This is Doga with Kimberly and Mookie, who you can kind of see probably a little bit of, who is being his typical rogue self. So he will be participating today with a possible cameo by our newly adopted Miss Bellstar, who is a pug from Oklahoma, a former puppy mill mama. And what I wanted to do is just go over some of the things we touched on last week for anyone who may not have been with us, and to let you know that we're going to be with you weekly on Tuesdays, going through different ways to connect with your dog beyond feeding them, cleaning up after them, and walking them. And that's really what Doga is all about. It's the ability to have more of a connection beyond the typical, oh, I need to do this, or I'm supposed to be doing that. So that's what Doga is all about. I have to say that sometimes people think like, oh, I just say, get into down dog, and my dog does it. I mean, my dogs have barely ever even come on command, so then to ask them to do a down dog on command may be asking a bit much. So really, this is a lot about you being able to do some sort of a practice and to be able to take some time, slow down, put your smartphone away, and connect with your beloved canine. So a few tools that I brought in to show for this session is a yoga block. Totally don't need this. It's just something that some people like to have for a little extra support. So I just wanted to show that. Also a meditation cushion. This can be nice if you're going to do a seated pose and be with your dog for a little bit and you don't really like hanging out on the floor. It's not super comfortable. Meditation cushions are great. Also, last week I introduced lavender oil. So this is not something that you like rub all over your dog. This dog in particular has very sensitive skin. And so what I like to do is just kind of bring the lavender oil down by his nose. Let him do a little bit of sniffing, as you see. He's like, oh, it's Doga time again. And then it's also nice too, you can put it on. So lavender oil is one of those things that you can typically put directly on your skin. So has a nice kind of calming, grounding effect. So a couple other tools I like to have nearby: fresh flowers, plants, candle, tea, water. Again, these are all optional. Really, all you need is you, a good heart, and your dog. So let's begin by just taking a few moments to settle in. So that's where something such as these, for a little elevation of the hips, may be nice. Again, so not necessary. I mean, it's not a must, but for some people, it's not really comfortable to be seated on the floor for long periods of time. So you could, of course, do everything I'm going to show you on the couch or even on a bed. So know that you can adapt this to your dog, and you may have a much larger dog, such as a husky or a Doberman Pinscher. I mean, something quite large, right? Or even just a little baby Chihuahua. So all of these can be adjusted to accommodate the size of dog that you are dealing with. So I'm just going to begin by taking a comfortable seat and allowing eyes to close. So I'm holding his little paw. You can also bring hands kind of onto their body and just like nice, slow, gentle pets. He likes it on the sides of his body, on his belly. So we'll just work here for a moment. And this allows you to get grounded and also to ground your pet. So he has just had his morning walk and all that good stuff. So this is kind of his nap time anyway. But you may not have that luxury. Your dog may be a bit wound up, or a puppy. So taking a moment to just kind of drop in and begin to notice your breath. So taking deep inhales through the nose and filling the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then exhale, releasing chest, ribs, and belly. So this is called mindful breathing, 3-part yogic breath. Again, inhale through the nose, fill belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, release chest, ribs, and belly. And noticing, so for him, there's a little bit of snoring, very typical with someone who is 75% pug. There's a lot of snoring, so you'll hear all sorts of interesting sounds throughout our series. And this allows you to drop in. This may be one of the first times today that you've allowed yourself really to slow down and to not be rushing from thing to thing, task to task. And to take a moment to connect with this beloved being that brings so much unconditional love. And then take a moment here to create an intention. So for our time together, what is an intention you'd like to have? Maybe it's to feel a bit more grounded after you're done practicing Doga. Maybe it's to feel more connected to your canine. Maybe it's to learn something new, something that you can incorporate into your exercise routine. And there's no right or wrong, so just noticing what bubbles up for you. And then take a big inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And let your eyes flutter open. Great, so again, a big welcome. My name's Kimberly, this is Mr. Mookie, and we're going to be leading you through a few poses today. So one of the poses that we worked with last week was the gentle massage, right? So gentle massage, the great thing about massage is that it allows you to notice if there's anything off that you may be feeling in the body. Like for example, you may notice a tick around an ear, or you may notice a little lump or bump that's come up after they've been playing with another dog, and there may have been a little bit of roughhousing. You can also notice if there's any shift in texture. Things along those lines, and it can be a really calming effect. One of the things, this dog has a lot of anxiety, so this little collar that he wears, it's supposed to have pheromones that reminds him of his mother, and a little chamomile and lavender. We haven't noticed a huge difference with it, but it makes us feel good that there's a possibility it may help relax him. But one of the calming strokes is to bring hand to head and then all the way down the spine and then to his tail. So as you see, he's got one of those curled tails. So he's got, a nice long. As you see, it does seem to be, hi sweetie, nice and calming. And then rolling over onto the belly. Can do a little bit of belly rubs, yes. And then a little bit of scratching behind the ears. And the next pose I'm going to show, last week we did a seated forward fold. Today we're going to do a wide-legged seated forward fold. So again, if you wanted to sit on the edge of your bolster or block, you absolutely could. I'm going to skip that. And then from here, you open your feet wide. So as I mentioned earlier, couch or bed. The reason I said bed is because you probably can't do this very easily on a couch, but some of you are not maybe going to want to get onto the floor. So I just want to make sure everyone has an option of ways that they can work with these poses. So the great thing about this, I'm already feeling a stretch in my inner thighs. If you keep your feet flexed and draw the toes back towards your body, this is great. Some of you may stay right here. Again, you stay connected with your dog throughout the entire practice. Now, others may want to come forward some. Now, coming forward, the great thing is you get even a deeper stretch in the inner thighs and the hamstrings. So if you have a little dog, this won't be too much trouble. If you have a larger dog, you're kind of going to be resting over the larger dog. So for me, since Mookie's a little bit anxious, I'm just going to kind of hover and then rest on my elbow. So keeping feet flexed, legs engaged, and resting here, again, staying connected. Now the great thing about this too, this is a pose that you could stay in really for a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes even. We're just going to be here for a little bit, maybe a minute or so. And noticing too, with your yoga poses, we never ever want to feel pain. So we want to feel that gentle sensation, right, beyond the comfort zone, but never pain. So if you notice you're like, oh, that's a little too much, just walk your hands back towards your body, stay upright. Maybe you even need a slight bend in the knees, or to bring those feet closer. Maybe opening them is a little bit too intense for the inner thighs or any knee issues, anything you may have. So always adjusting this to your body and your dog's needs. So again, just a few more breaths here. And noticing those of you who are like, this feels nice, can you go a little bit further? Again, only if that feels possible for you. So maybe releasing down. So I'm going to walk all the way over him, drop down onto my elbows. So again, there's contact here. Lots of sensation in the inner thighs. Feet are flexed, toes pulled back toward the body. Breathing, seeing if you can match your breath to your dog's breath. Probably won't sound the same, particularly his. It's quite loud. So instead, just notice, can you breathe with your dog? So inhaling as your dog inhales, exhaling as your dog exhales. And then hands back to the body. Did so good, Mookie. He's out. And then gently draw those knees together, and then we're going to bring them back. And I'm going to turn to the side to show the next pose, which is a seated twist. Now for seated twist, you can work with this a few ways. You can bend your knees and then wrap your left arm around your knees. And then you're going to have your right hand on your dog so that as you inhale, lengthen, you can exhale and twist. Or if you would like, you could even extend the left leg out, keep that right knee bent, bring that left arm around the right knee. There's lots of lefts and rights in this one, so if it's too much, just think, I want to twist to the right. That's all you have to remember. And then the right hand kind of rests on your dog. Now we're trying to keep the spine as straight as possible and then twisting. So rather than cranking the neck, let your neck be an extension of the spine. So it's a big inhale and then an exhale twist. Now with this, we never want to do twists on a big full stomach. So if you just had a big pasta meal or something along those lines, give yourself a couple hours before you start twisting. But twists are good to wring out lower back discomfort, which so many people suffer from, I think particularly if you're carrying around a dog from time to time. And then also the theory behind it is that it helps flood, it wrings out internal organs and floods the body with all sorts of yummy nutrients. So keep that in mind as you work with your twist. And again, you can hold here and breathe a bit and seeing if you can keep that connection to the dog's breath. And then slowly return to the center. So as you return, you'll notice quite a big difference between the two sides. So I always just like to do a little kind of readjusting and then a gentle twist to the other side and then back to the center. Now if you would like, grab a cup of tea or something to stay hydrated during our practice. And then we're going to switch. Now, rather than having the dog switch so that you can turn in the other direction, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move myself. Again, much easier to move myself than have my dog do anything I want him to do. All right, so again, here, you can extend that left leg out, extend that right leg out, left foot crosses, left knee points to the sky, left hand behind you. So you can bring that right hand over to the belly. You can rest the right hand here and then maybe instead pet with the left. So just notice what feels best to you, allows you to get the twist but without it being really awkward for you because you want it to be comfortable. And remember too that this is a great option also with feet hip width apart, knees bent, and maybe the hands just kind of wrap around the knees a little and then we twist here gazing over that left shoulder. So find what works best for your body, what feels good, and allows you to get this nice juicy twist in. And then if you do have a leg extended, you want to flex that foot. And it's an inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. And return to the center. Again, pause for a moment. To me, those are always quite intense, and I really feel a difference as I transition from the twist back. And then I always just like to do a brief counter twist. And then back to the center. So extend your legs straight out, and we're going to repeat one of the ones we worked with last week, which is really nice. It's also cooling. and calming, which is good, particularly this time of the year. I'm in Washington, D.C., and it is incredibly warm right now. So anyone else who is living around the world in a place that's quite warm, this is a great cooling pose. And even if it's chilly where you are, it's also calming. Now, for you, you can keep those knees bent slightly if that helps, particularly if you know hamstrings are quite snug or your lower back is just pretty tight. All right, so otherwise, feet flexed. Inhale, arms along the ears. And then exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. So you may not fold very far at all, which is absolutely fine. Hands on shins, hands on ankles, hands to the outsides of the feet. Here you could use a yoga strap around the balls of the feet. And if you're like, I don't have a yoga strap handy, you could use a bathrobe tie, or you could even use a tie, goes around the neck. So these are great to just give that little extra pull. And as you're doing this, again, you can do a little connection to the dog. You can even have him between the feet or even resting on your shins. I think he is nice and zen at the moment, so I won't wake him to move him. And then rolling back up. Cartwheel the arms behind you. So fingertips pointing toward the body. Press down, lift through the chest, gazes up, feet flexed. And release. So our final pose is Shavasana. And as you can see, he's doing a really good job in Shavasana right now. I don't even think he's come awake at all, other than to smell the lavender. I know. So what I'm going to do is I get to lie down with him too. Now, if he was on the other side, I could do a little spooning action, but instead I'm just going to lie down and rest on my side. And Shavasana typically done on the back, but so that I can stay somewhat connected to him, I'm going to lie down on my side and then rest here, releasing the head. And again, his eyes are closed, so he's nice and relaxed. And working with the massage here that I showed earlier, top of the head, down the spine, so as far as I can reach. And of course, just little scratches along the ears are always nice. And this is your reward for your practice today. So as you rest here, you can allow the eyes to close. You can keep the connection going with your furry friend, or you can let the focus turn inward as you honor yourself for taking the time to tune in to your body, to your breath, and to your beloved companion. And you can rest here for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then as you're ready to release, you're going to come right back up. And then we'll return to where we began in that nice seated pose. So again, you could grab your meditation cushion, a block, or none of the above. Again, not necessary. And let's take a moment to kind of settle in and return to the intention that you created at the start of our practice today. And what can you take away from this time and bring into the rest of your day? Maybe a sense of connection to your breath. Maybe the paying attention to the body. Or even the bonding time with your dog. And take a big inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And let your eyes flutter open. Great, so thank you so much for being here today with me and Mookie, who's clearly quite entertained the entire time. And my hope is that this gives you a few ideas on ways that you can connect with your dog beyond, again, the feeding, the walking, etc. And also, if you have an anxious dog, which I know, having done a lot of reading on this one, that there are quite a few anxious dogs out there, and of course anxious people. So the ability to slow down, take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes just for yourself to notice your breath, notice the sensations in your body, and feel a sense of connection to your dog can be a really powerful experience to do on a daily, weekly basis. So again, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for joining us at Woof Driver, and I look forward to getting to know you more and more as the weeks go on. So please feel free to reach out. You can find me at Woof Driver, and I wish you a phenomenal week. Thank you so much. Namaste.